Hey there, this is Brandon Bigger. What we're looking at here is McFarlane Toys Deluxe Theatrical Edition Lobo. This is Supergirl version of Lobo. It's weird how I said it. I mean, this is Lobo that appears in Supergirl movie. So he is, I guess, a supporting character. Yeah, obviously he's a supporting character. The Supergirl is the main character, obviously. So anyway, the actor who acts as Lobo is perfect. Okay, this is the perfect actor for Lobo, in my opinion. I actually thought for real he was going to be Lobo when he was announced to be part of the DCEU universe. Back when Zack Snyder was a director for DC movies, I thought for sure that Jason Momoa was going to be Lobo, and then later on, they casted him as Aquaman, and that's just I am I'm blown away by their decision on that. That was very odd. So anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at the figure. But first, let's look at the box. Before we take a look at the figure, I want to show you the packaging, and this looks pretty good. It does look nice here. It has a Supergirl symbol on the bottom right there. You can see a bunch of accessories, and it has the space and the backdrop right there, which is nice. It does come with a card on there, and it's got some shiny blue foil on that, which is nice. And you can see on the side that's Supergirl, the photo of Supergirl, which I really like. That looks amazing. And then on the back is non-Photoshop. It's just, it looks more like Photoshop. I'm not complaining, it's fine, but it's kind of weird that it's not an actual photo of Lobo. I wonder why that is, but it does look good. Now, onto the figure. Standing him straight up like this, he looks very nice. It's a nice looking figure, really. We'll get into sculpted paint section later, but usually I always start with the scaling. I find scaling to be extremely important, and a lot of times McFarlane really screwed the pooch when it comes to scaling, and this is one of his examples. It's really bad. You'll see what I mean. Now, on to the comparison, scaling comparison. The one on the left is David Cornsweet, and that Superman is from Funjoy, not McFarlane. And the one on the right is from McFarlane, and that is Millie Alcock's Supergirl. So you can see the scaling is way off. David Cornsweet is in the correct scale, but Millie, way off, way off. She is too big and too tall, and Lobo is too small, and just he's not as tall as I want him to be. He is supposed to be at least as tall as David Cornsweet here, and he is not. It's not fair to compare him to like David Cornsweet, Superman from Bonjoy, because Bonjoy is a little bit bigger in scale compared to McFarlane. So I will do some other comparisons from McFarlane action figures. So let's do this. And here we got some Superman figures. The one on the left is Christopher Reeve Superman, and the one on the right is 0 Hour Superman with a custom cape on. So you can see the scaling on Superman figures are much bigger than Lobo here, and they're both from McFarlane Toys. So it's from the same company, and that same company keeps screwing up the hail, and the same company keeps screwing up on the scale, on the height. So the height is way off. I don't know how to fix Lobo's height, honestly, but that's what it looks like here. Let's do some more comparisons, and this time, and remember, these Superman figures, they are that big just to scale correctly with their Hush Batman figures, and they keep screwing it up. But I'll show you in a minute. Now, what you see here are older figures. The one on the left is Green Lantern, and the one on the right is Arkham Asylum Batman. So you can see they both scale a little bit better with Lobo here. The reason why is because these molds were older. They were based on older bodies from like the early 2020, I think. I don't remember exactly how long ago it was. I think it was back in 2019, 2020 was when McFarlane took up on the license. So at that time, his scale weren't so big. They were like at this scale. So let's do some more comparisons. Now here you see that both figures scale a little bit better with Lobo. You can see that Lobo is not that small. You get where I'm going with here? Both these figures on the left and right, these were old molds. Okay? Yes, that Martian Manhunter on the right is a new one, but they reused the mold. Okay? This mold is old. It came from like 2023, I think. I don't remember exactly. I'll put up the number here. But it was an old mold, okay? The one on the left is kind of new but still old. And look how much it scales, how well it scales with the rest of with Lobo. See where I'm going with here? Now, ever since, the high scaling has been creeping up. All because McFarlane screwed up on that Batman figure. That Batman is really huge. Okay, I'll show you the Batman that I was talking about. Now, what we have here on the left is Wonder Woman. Who is Wonder Woman version, the collector edition from McFarlane. And the one on the right is also from McFarlane. And that is Aquaman. The worst cast I have ever seen. Like the worst. So Jason Momoa being Lobo is the perfect casting ever. Like nothing's more perfect than that. So yeah, you can see compared to Aquaman, he's exactly the same height. So is that weird? So you can see like they were trying to make him the same height as the old Aquaman figures. And back then, their scaling was a little bit smaller, you know, like a few centimeters smaller than the current figures they have going on right now. So you can see that the height was creeping up in the last 2 or 3 years. They made the figures way too big lately, way too big. And so way out of scale. And unfortunately, that's all because of that Hush Batman figure that they came out with. And here you can see the Hush Batman on the far right from McFarlane. And then the one on the left is Mafex, Cyborg Superman. So you can see that Lobo is out of scale with either figure. So you can see that Lobo is too small for the McFarlane figures, the current McFarlane line of figures, and too big for the Mafex line of figures. So there's no true scale for this particular person unless you're going with like the much older McFarlane action figures from back then. I have the Action Comics 1000, but for some reason I cannot find this figure anywhere. I don't know what happened to it. I have to look for it. I cannot find it. So anyway, yeah, that's the scale. Now we're gonna go over articulation, and starting with the head. Okay, now I want you to keep in mind is the hair is soft enough. You can turn it around, move it around if you want, but the rotation, when you do a swivel rotation, it can pop the head off easily because they let it pop off easier, so you can swap the heads, right? It has an alternate head where his mouth is closed. So when you turn it, it comes off very easily. I'll show you again. Done. Easy. So that's not good. So just keep in mind that when you turn, keep the head pushed down while you turn. so it stays on, because it comes off very easily here. So there's that, and he can look up, but it pops off easily as well, like this. So it can be very frustrating. So yeah, I don't know if the other one can be a little bit tighter on. Let me try. It's still the same. It comes off very easily. So that's a shame. Yeah, moves up a little bit. He looks down quite a lot. Like, he can look down quite a lot. So there's that. Now, his shoulders can rotate up. It can rotate. This trench coat is pretty soft. So this piece right here is pretty soft, but it can't fight with you when you go up. So it goes up like this far. It comes off. You see how easy it is to come off? Like, jeez. Just stay on, dude. So there's that. And then there's bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. It goes about this far, and they look ugly. The elbows look really ugly. There's that, and it can go up in a T pose, kind of, which is, I would say, it's pretty good. And it does have wrist joint with a hinge, and rotates this far like that. And then the chest, he arches back this far and crunches forward this far, which is barely any punch forward. It's just not much. And then side tilt this far, pops off again. And then another side. So, and it can do a full 360 swivel. It's easier to do at the waist instead of the diaphragm hug. Now, the legs, you can do it split, like so, about this far. Yeah, that's the best I can do with it. And kicks back this far. I don't think you can see, but it goes this far. And then it kicks forward this far. This pelvis piece is pretty soft, so you can kick it up a lot higher. And double jointed knees. As you can see, it's very ratchety. It's really tough, but you'll be able to move it. And it's got swivel. Oh wait, I forgot about the swivel at the thighs. It does have thigh swivel. Goes all the way around. And that's thigh swivel. Let me show you. See? Full 360 thigh swivel. Very rare for McFarlane. They do that because he rides on a motorcycle. You can have him sitting on a motorcycle. I didn't buy the motorcycle because I don't really like that design, but you can get the motorcycle along with this and have him ride on it anyway. There's this, and then the feet go down this far, up this far, and full 360 swivel, and ankle pivot about this far. And you can go a little further like that. So yeah, there, and then another side, that. So, and toe hinge. It's a little, you can see it's toe hinge like that. And by the way, his boots, they are upwards like this. it's just the way it is sculpted. That's just how he wears them in the movie. So it's arched upwards like that. Like there's a curve on his boots. That's just the way it is made in the movie. So it is, they're trying to make it as accurate as possible. It looks great. So anyway, so yeah, the head popped off again. Now I would like to go over sculpt and paint of this guy. I'm gonna tell you right now, the sculpt and paint on this figure are beautiful. It's a beautiful looking figure. It's very accurate. It's really well done. This one screams McFarlane Toys. What I mean by that is McFarlane is known for like extreme detail on his action figures. He's always been like that. Ever since the early 90s, he has always been hyper focused on like extreme detail. Ever since that Spawn movie came out, he had made like a lot of really textured, detailed action figures. Let me show you an example. I have the old McFarlane Toys. McFarlane Toys, there's McFarlane Toys right here. I have the old McFarlane Toys action figure, and you can see that came out in like 97, 98, 1998 or so. And look how much detail this one is. It has a lot of detail on the figure. For a figure that came out in like late 90s, that is extremely impressive, okay? From back then, they were not that detailed like that. So, McFarlane has always been known for extreme detail on his figures. That's why I get so excited when he took on the DC license. So, it's very detailed. They did a really good job with this. It's right up his alley on this thing. It's beautiful. And look at the sculpt of the face. McFarlane Toys, they are usually pretty good with face likeness. Let's do the neutral head. You can see Jason Momoa's likeness in there. But it's kind of hard because he's wearing makeup and he's got a goatee on and long hair. So he is unrecognizable here. So, yeah, that's what he looks like. Looks good. He has red eyes. Sculpted hair. Oops. He's got spikes on the shoulders of his trench coat. You can see the trench coat has a lot of detail. And he's got pockets over here. And a lot of weathering and texture. Which makes it look like leather. Like worn leather. It's got wrinkles on here, seams, belt loops right there, buttons on one side right here. It's pretty soft, so it's not gonna get in the way. And so, yeah, you can see the spikes on the collar right here, the way it is folded. It's got a lot of spikes on there. And then you can see there are two different colors. This one is brown and this one is black. So clearly he's wearing two different types of jackets. He's wearing a black leather jacket, and then he's wearing a brown leather trench coat. So two different jackets on top of each other. Unfortunately, this is one piece. So it's not a two piece. Like, I wish they did that. It would have been cool, but there's no, black jacket. I prefer a black jacket. I would have preferred that, but what can I do? So yeah, it comes with two different types of jackets, and you can see the necklace here. I don't know what's going on with this necklace, but it's interesting, and it looks like the same hook that he has holding in his hand. You have this hook right here. So there's a necklace right here, It might be explained in the movie. Who knows? I have no idea. But it's interesting to see that on there. It might be, I don't know. We'll see. In the Supergirl movie. And then you see the bone, the skeleton, or the skull, or whatever. Yeah, the skull. And the chains. They did a good job with the chains. I love that. And the pants. It's got whatever he's got going on over there. Knee pads. Sculpt it all the way down. See? All the way down. And it's got spikes on one side here and a skull on the other side. It's pretty great. It's pretty cool. You can see the texture and the weathering on there. The spikes on his boots. Even in the back, he's got straps on the back of his boots. So, yeah. It looks great, man. It really, it's just wonderful. Wonderful looking figure. And he's got tattoos all over his arms right there. Chains all around his forearm on one side only. Because the other side is just, you know, some kind of bent on there. He's got straps on there on this side. He's wearing gloves. He's got a little bit of spikes on the back of his hand. Really great sculpt. Wonderful figure, man. Really, really fantastic figure. Love it. Now you can see he comes with accessories. The first is that hook that he has always had on him. And, you know, kind of like Captain America and his shield. Or Luke Skywalker with his sword. This with the hook that he has. And it's interesting. It's got real chain on it, which is nice. And it scales perfectly with the figure. See? It's pretty much the same size as the other ones on, you know, the sculpted, you know, change on them. So they did a good job finding the right scale for this. And then you see the handle. It's black and silver paint on there. And it looks really interesting. Very comic book accurate in a way with that. And then you can see he has a thumbs up hand, which is there's some humor in that. That's pretty cool. Let's take this hand off. Yeah. 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 Cool, I love it. And then there's the grip hand right here, which is supposed to hold this thing. Let's see if it works. It's not easy to put on for sure, because usually the hands are really tough. They're really hard to open. So it's not as easy to put on, so you have to figure that out, unfortunately. And then there's the, yeah, there's that. And then there's the open, spread out, like relaxed, open, relaxed hand, I guess. You can use that hand to grip on someone's neck, you know. So, yeah, there's that. And then there's this hand, which is the fish hand for the right side, for his right side. Kind of hard to take off. There you go. There's a fish hand, which is cool. And then there's another fish hand, but this one comes with whatever you call these things, like knuckles, like fighting knuckles things. I don't know what you call them. And you put them on there, brass knuckles. There you go. So yeah, he puts the brass knuckles on them. You cannot take those off. You could if you want to with the X-Acto knife, but I like it like this. Kind of fitting for Lobo. Like this. There you go. There's a knuckle. Brass knuckle. And then here he is laughing. So yeah, that's really cool set of accessories, and it comes with an alternate head, of course, and you can swap it around and swap parts of the hand. And there's this hook, and this hook you can connect it like, let's see, like right here, put that on like that, rub it around, and then it goes like this. So yeah, you know, you can figure it out, but that's cool to have. So there you have it. There's two some poses in my opinion. It is a pretty decent figure. It reminds me of those old Kiss action figures from McFarlane Toys. You guys remember those? I think he made those. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And you know, it just gives me a strong nostalgia vibe handling this figure, and it poses just like a McFarlane figure should be. You know, like that's totally his thing. That's his style, and it's a great looking figure. Beautiful sculpt work, beautiful paint job. I mean, it's very detailed. The only problem I have with this is the scale. You know, the scale is way undersized for a McFarlane Toys line of action figures. It is way too small, and you know, the head keeps popping off way too easily. It should not even happen with an action figure. Um, so yeah, I wish it had came with more stuff, but other than that, it's a pretty good figure. $35 is a lot for this guy, but it does come with a few that you would want for Lobo, and it is a pretty detailed, realistic type of an action figure for Lobo. So that is something special. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching, and hope I see you again next time. Take care.